The bracers are purging your body of the cult's magic. It's unpleasant, I know, but necessary. Your very presence awakens the city, but not enough to break the spell. I'll show you. Let us see what the night holds. Your first arcane sigil is fire, the essence of destruction. Now be still. This might hurt a bit.
Did I pass out again?
No. You died.
I'm sorry, what?
In Lichdom Battlemage, you play as Jennifer Hale, who gets magical gauntlets from a magical wizard, so that you can fight Baron Von Evil, who has kidnapped your sister. Or something. I didn't really listen to the plot at all. What I was interested in was the magical combat system in it. The whole game is just magic. I love magic in games that has so much potential to it. There's so much going on, how games and designers reconcile the idea of being able to do almost anything is always quite interesting, so I like to play games with magic in. The way this game works is it's essentially a first-person shooter, but you have spells instead of guns, and you get different sigils which give you different elements and powers. So you start off with fire, then you get ice, etc, etc. And you get weird ones such as necromancy, and one which allows you to mind control people. As standard, you have 3 different types. You have a direct damage type, an area effect type, and a nova, which I think is a block. I still don't really understand after playing it. It was a bit weird. And spells are made up of components, so you can use random drops from enemies that you can make your own spells in the game. So enemies will drop random parts and then you can use them to build other things. So for example, you have just a fireball to begin with, but you can then make a fire beam later, which just does a continuous amount of damage. There's things like area effects, which can make mines or just a large area. This is interesting and quite an engaging concept. I will say it's a bit too complicated in terms of how everything works. Everything has so many different stats. I still don't know what half of them mean or really what they do. As you put different bonuses and buffs onto them, that can fundamentally change the weapons. For example, I saw I could use a mastery effect that would allow me to make my fire and do a build up damage and unleashing it in a massive explosion. I didn't realise that meant it did no damage on its own, so then it was very difficult to then trigger it because I couldn't do damage. And it's a bit of an issue really when you're trying to do something, and because you then use up the components, you can get one of them back out of the 3 that you use. So you can end up scuppering yourself if you've put all the very good components you found into one spell and it's not quite done what you expected. I went with Necromancy as my first optional upgrade because it seemed really complicated and interesting, and I'm an idiot because it was complicated and very confusing. As I worked out though, you have to infect the enemy with this sort of undead thing and then kill them, which means you're swapping between spells quickly. But the necromancy has no other effect. It doesn't poison people, it doesn't slow people, it doesn't do anything, but it is quite fun seeing wolves though turn into skeleton warriors. Because they're not really connected to each other at all, you just kill something and get something. Which has it has got me thinking about this, the game concept of random items and random weapons. You don't see it as much at the moment, but there was a bit of a time where procedural generation was the key to everything. That's infinite number of areas and abilities and weapons and stuff. And this isn't quite that, because you have more control over what you're doing. I'm not going to pick anything up and go, this spell is useless to me because it's been randomly generated. I'm more in control of what I'm doing. I do feel it's a poor idea though, if I'm honest. In other games, say, you would find a shotgun and know this will be perfectly designed for what I'm going to phase next. This area needs this particular weapon, which you have now because you've just been got it. Often like fighting robots will give you a rocket launcher, etc. This can't really do that. It does a few bits in the tutorial where it's like, oh, here's this new element, this is what this does. But after you are able to pick any element you want, idiots can just pick necromancy and screw themselves over because they don't know what they're doing. It's a bit of a shame, because I like it when games try new things. I'm glad this game exists, but it's a bit of a failure really. The ability to pick anything doesn't necessarily mean you get anything good. I'm not picking up new spells and going, oh wow, this is amazing, because they don't really do anything. Ice, for example, just freezes enemies. Fire just deals damage to enemies. Force sort of knocks people over. It does, whilst everyone has their own identity, I'm not actually mixing spells together. It's not that interesting. What I'd prefer to have seen is even more customization, even more random, weirdly. Though I've just said the game doesn't work because you can't build anything bespoke around the weapons you get and the areas you go to. I think if you were just unlocking core components as you went, bit by bit, you could make more interesting spells. If I always had access to the beam ability, and then I could just on the fly go, oh, this isn't working with fire, oh, maybe an ice beam will work, and also have it able to do damage or mix stuff together more. There's really two ways you can go with games. Either you go like full customization, everything is under the control of the player, or you design it yourself. Because as I'm playing the game, I'm feeling a bit like a beta tester. I'm trying to work out, tweaking the weapons as I go to see what works and what's balanced and what's effective, without the tools to just go, no, that's just underpowered, it doesn't work, or the ice doesn't last long enough. I don't have the control I need or want. So a strange look really at this. I don't know if I'd ever recommend the game. I honestly didn't finish the game. It got a bit too tedious. The necromancy was the wrong pick. Lightning might be more fun. I could get to shout unlimited power all the time. Unlimited power! And other such memes. So yeah, Lichdom Battlemage. It's a weird game. I did enjoy it. Actually, I am glad I tried it. It was quite fun. Fun fact, they also made The Culling 2, the same company, which was a utter disaster. So this was definitely better than The Culling 2. Anyway, have a lovely day.